Mabuhay! I am Faith Audrey de la Rosa and I am going to talk about political law. Political law in the Philippines governs the structure and operation of the government, the distribution of powers among its branches, and the rights of the citizens. It includes constitutional law which defines the framework of governance, administrative law which regulates government agencies, election law which ensures fair voting and political participation, law on public officers which sets ethical standards and accountability for officials, and local government law which grants autonomy to local government units. Key law includes the 1987 Constitution, the Local Government Code RA 7160, and the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices RA 3019. These laws ensures a functioning government, protect civil rights, and prevent abuses of power. National Territory of the Philippines. The National Territory of the Philippines is defined in Article 1 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, which outlines the country's land, water, and airspace. It includes terrestrial domain, or the land areas, all islands and territories belonging to the Philippines, including Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and smaller islands. 2. Maritime domain, which is the waters, internal waters, territorial sea, and exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, extending 200 nautical miles from the coastline. Number 3 is the aerial domain, or airspace, the airspace above the land and waters. For example, the West Philippine Sea dispute involves the Philippines asserting its territorial rights over areas such as Kalayaan Islands Group or Spratly Islands and Scarborough Shoal under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration ruled in favor of the Philippines against China's expansive claims.
My name is Christine Jewel R. Bolivar. The government is divided into three main branches: legislative, judiciary, and executive. First, legislative branch. This branch is responsible for making laws. In the Philippines, the legislative branch consists of Congress, which is divided into two chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Department under this branch may include committees that focus on various issues such as education, health, and the economy. Second, judiciary branch. This branch is responsible for enforcing laws and adjudicating legal issues. In the Philippines, the highest court is the Supreme Court. The courts below it includes regional trial courts and municipal trial courts, each with different levels of authority and adjudication. Third, executive branch. This branch implements laws and policies. It is headed by the President, who has a cabinet and various agencies that assist in executing government programs and services. Department under the executive branch includes agencies like the Department of Health, Department of Education, and Department of Finance.
Mabuhay! I am Angela Villarosa. Labor law prescribes the condition of employment that both employers and employees have to abide by, such as types of employment, working hours, minimum wage, mandatory benefits, holidays, rest day, and employment rights. Labor law contains a legal framework that governs the employee and employer relationships. The employer has the right to give salary and benefits to the employee, give termination to an employee, and to manipulate and control the employee. The difference between wage and salary: minimum wage was given to an ordinary employee, whereas the salary was given by a professional. When it comes to termination, we have two types: the just cause and authorized cause. The just cause mainly focuses on termination of an employee regards on such as physical abuse, forgery, fraud, and theft, whereas the authorized cause happens when there is redundancy for the job, disease and illness, and reorganization of the company and bankruptcy. Labor law was created to protect both employees and employer. However, the Constitution favors the employee because of their lack of resources to protect themselves.
Mabuhay! My name is Joshua Miguel Dulay and I will be talking about the Relations Law. Relations Law in the Philippines covers legal matters concerning family, marriage, and interpersonal relationships. The Family Code of the Philippines, Executive Order Number 209, governs marriage, defining it as a permanent union between a man and a woman. The law requires valid consent, legal capacity, and formal requisites for a marriage to be valid. Annulment is allowed under specific grounds like psychological incapacity, fraud, or lack of parental consent for underage marriages. Legal separation permits spouses to live apart but does not dissolve the marriage bond. Child custody is usually granted to the mother for children under 7 years old, unless there are valid reasons against it. The law protects legitimate and illegitimate children, ensuring their right to support and inheritance. The property relations law governs how assets and debts are divided between spouses depending on their chosen property regime. The Domestic Adoption Act and Inter-Country Adoption Act provide legal procedures for adopting children. Lastly, Violence Against Women and Children, RA 9262, criminalizes abuses within relationships and protects victims. I will be now talking about the commercial law in the Philippines. Commercial law in the Philippines governs business transactions, trade, and commerce. The primary legal framework is the Corporation Code RA 11232, which regulates the formation, operation, and dissolution of corporations. The revised Penal Code and Consumer Act RA 7394 protect consumers from fraud, unfair trade practices, and defective products. The Negotiable Instruments Law Act No. 2031 sets rules on checks, promissory notes, and other negotiable instruments. The Insurance Code RA 10607 regulates the insurance companies and ensures fair dealings with policyholders. The Banking Law RA 8791 governs financial institutions and their role in commercial activities. The Intellectual Property Code RA 8293 protects trademarks, patents, and copyrights in business. The E-Commerce Act RA 8792 provides legal recognition for electronic transactions and cybersecurity measures. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Law FRIA of 2010 RA 10142 outlines procedures for businesses facing financial distress. And lastly, various labor laws such as the Labor Code regulate employer-employee relations in commercial settings.
Mabuhay! My name is Miguel Gonzalez and I will be discussing partnership. A partnership in a business argument when two or more individuals agree in sharing ownership, management, and profit of a business. Partnerships are common in the tourism and hospitality industry, such as restaurant operation, travel agency, and banquet hotels. Corporation. A corporation is a separate legal entity for its owners, meaning it has own rights and responsibilities. This strategy is a common in large hotel chain, airlines, and multinational travel agency.